Hi, it's Miss Chrissy from the Hickory Corner Branch Library, and it's time to check in with our chicks again. So right now we're on day 14. We have 7 days left according to the incubator until hatch. So our hatch day should be about Wednesday, August 12th, so next week. And so let's find out what's happening on day 14. In order to do so, we're gonna have to look inside of the egg. So if you've been following along, you know I'm gonna do that by candling it. I'm going to use a special flashlight to look inside the egg. But let's talk about what we should be expecting to see and what you're going to notice. So right now on day 14, let's look at our process here. Day 14 is right here. So we should be able to see the chick. The chick is actually going to look like a shadow. Though to us, we're really just going to see the shadow, but the part that we're really going to be able to see is the chick's eyeball. It's very prominent. So now what's happening today on day 14? Well, on day 14, the embryo turns its head towards the large end of the egg. So this is the last day I would want to candle the eggs because we want the chick's head to be on the larger side of the egg so that's where the air sac is. So again, if you watch that first video where I explained the process, you know that the air sac is in the egg and that when they crack the egg to pip out, and start hatching, they need that air sac to breathe. So that we want them to be on that side. So I don't want to do any more candling from now on because I don't want them to turn in the wrong direction. I don't want to confuse things anymore. Also, as they get bigger, there's really not much to see because they're taking up the whole egg. So we can't really see any of the details. So right now, today is the day they're turning. Yesterday was day 13. They had the appearance of scales and their body was covered lightly with feathers. So they're getting their down feathers. Those little fluffy feathers they're going to be born with. Of course, they're not fluffy when they first hatch. When they hatch, they're wet and kind of meh. But then they dry and they're nice and fluffy. So what else has happened since we last checked in with them? Well, since we last checked in with them, their comb growth has begun. So that's the top on their head there. That has begun. Their egg tooth began to appear. So what they're going to crack out of the egg with. Their feather tracks were seen. So that's where all their feathers are going to grow in. Their upper and lower beak are equal in length. So their beak is getting ready. Then the embryo starts to look more bird-like. We're going to see that's what it's now it's definitely more bird-like. And mouth opening has started. Now it also has toenails and claws and the tail feathers are apparent. Then we've got, like I said, the toes fully formed and first visible feathers. And now it's definitely covered in down and it's facing in the right direction. So these last few things that are going to happen over the next week, we'll talk about them after we check and see what's happening inside. Okay, so here we are in the activity room closet and we're going to check on egg number 1. So we're hoping to see that our chick is head down at the bottom of the egg, kind of curled up there. Oh, we can see that is a chick. That big shadow, that's the chick there. And that glowing white part, that's the air cell. I told you about the air sac. So that's where it's going to pip into. That's where it's going to make a little hole with its beak, and then it will begin breathing. So right there, you can see that's the chick. You might be able to see a little black dot of an eyeball. So now let's check egg number 2. Okay, so egg number 2, we can see there's the air sac. There is the yolk, this glowing part over here, and that's our chick curled around it. So there's our chick. Okay, egg number 3, same thing. We have our yolk there. We have a chick kind of curled around it. And then we have our air cell. So we have another chick that's in position for hatching. Okay, so now we're going to check in on egg number 4. And this is one that I was actually a little bit concerned about because when we looked back on day number 6 or 7 and we candled, we were able to see blood vessels, but they weren't nearly as developed as the other eggs. So I want to kind of see if this one has continued to develop. So let's take a look. Oh, no, we definitely have a chick in there. Again, there's the yolk and those blood vessels. And you see our chick there? Oh, our chick is moving around. Did you see that? Okay, egg number 5. Let's see. Oh, look at all those blood vessels. And that shadow there, that's the chick. More blood vessels. And again, we have that air cell down at the bottom. It's very important. Oh, this chick is moving around a little bit too. Let's check on egg number 6 now. Okay, egg number 6. Oh, same thing. We have a chick curl down there. That's awesome. Now we're going to check egg number 7 and see if we have 7 for 7. We know that they're all fertilized, so is our 7th egg also about ready for hatch? Let's check and see. Okay, egg number 7, so let's check it out. Oh, yep. We have another chick ready and waiting for hatching. So we can see we have that all-important air sac there. We have some yolk still. And we have the chick in position. So now all 7 of our eggs are fertilized. All 7 of our eggs look like they're developing properly and would be ready for hatching. But we still can't count our chicks before they hatch because they still have another week of development and anything can happen during that time. So we're going to have to wait and see how many we actually get at hatch time. But for now, let's go learn more about the development that's going to happen during the next week. So now that we've seen inside our eggs, what happens next? Well, now I've already said that we have 7 more days of development before the chicks are going to hatch. So let's look at what's going to happen during those next 7 days. Well, the gut is going to be drawn into the abdominal cavity. So again, you may remember from a previous video that I talked about the reason the eggs need to turn is because their inside organs of the chicks are actually being formed on the outside of their body. And so it's not until actually tomorrow that they'll start absorbing their organs and they get drawn into their abdominal cavity, and then that will grow. And then day 16, their feathers are going to cover their complete body and all the egg white will be pretty much all gone. The amniotic fluid decreases on the 17th and the head is between the legs. So then they're getting ready, they're getting in position. Then day 18, the growth of the embryo is nearly complete. Yolk sac is still on outside of embryo and head is under the right wing. And then on day 19, so right before hatch, the yolk sac draws into the body cavity so they absorb the rest of the yolk. And what color is the yolk? It's yellow, right? And that's why chicks have yellow feathers. Even chicks with darker feathers still have some yellow in them from that yolk. The amniotic fluid is all gone at the point, and the embryo, the chick, it occupies most of the space within the egg except for in the air cell. Then day 20, the yolk sac is completely gone, it's completely drawn into the body, and the embryo becomes a chick. It's now breathing. So it taps up into the air cell, and that's what we call pipping, and it's going to actually start breathing then. And so that's why it's so important that it's facing the right direction so that it can reach that air. And then we call that internal and external pip. It has pipped into the air cell, so it's made a hole into there, and it's also made a hole in the egg. And that means it's going to hatch probably within the next day. And that would be day 21, hatch day. So definitely continue joining in with us because we're going to have a webcam set up for this. So on lockdown, if you remember, lockdown is when the motor will stop turning this. So our incubator's no longer going to spin around because the eggs don't need to spin anymore. At that point, they're fully grown. So on lockdown, which is going to start on Sunday the 9th, the motor will stop spinning it, and we'll put even more water in here to really make it really humid. So just for that last bit to get them ready to make sure their eggs are nice and pliable, the membrane, they're able to break through it. And then we'll have a webcam up so that you can see as they start to pip, and maybe you can even hear them because once they make that hole, we can hear the cheep, cheep, cheep. And then we'll get to see their hatch. So definitely be checking our live stream of that so you can see the chicks hatch.